Welcome back. This isn't going to be gold prospecting today. It's going to be a little different. Actually, a little bit morbid. I'm actually out detecting, trying to find a grave. I actually teamed up with the Ware Historical Society. There's an interesting story back in the late 1700s. There was a smallpox outbreak in my town, and just like COVID, the similarities are pretty scary. People freaked out, didn't want anything to do with it. If you got it, you had to be super quarantined. Hopefully I get all the information right, but a Samuel Bean, his daughter, I think she was like 15, 16, ended up getting the smallpox. And for whatever reason, he didn't feel safe keeping her at his place. So he built almost like a makeshift hospital for her and other kids and other people that got the smallpox way out in the woods on it must have been a friend's property. The town didn't like this. They were very upset and they ended up burning it down. But before then, the girl ended up dying, and they just buried her in the woods. We don't know her name. There should be some type of headstone, but without even just any carvings on it or anything, it's going to be really hard to find. But what we're actually looking for is that little shed-like building he made would have burnt down, and then there would have been a bunch of square nails. I'm assuming maybe everything was left inside there, utensils or something. So it's pretty much a needle in a haystack, and it's miles out in the woods. We're actually going to be doing some off-roading to get to this point. I actually stopped at this location because I saw on the map there's another cellar hole I wanted to check out at some point. This is in the opposite direction, but as you can see, we got a nice little cellar hole going here. I think I mentioned this before. I like to use LiDAR mapping. It goes through the trees and just shows all the foundations. Any stonework shows right up, plain as day. So I can see exactly where this was, and I was able to find it. But I gotta get going. I gotta get to the spot. There is a cellar hole on the way. It's looks like a really nice one, and I'm assuming that's the property owner that allowed Samuel to build on his property. So I'm going to start there, find the cellar hole, and then work north to where we think it was built. It probably most likely would have been at the very edge of the property, just away from everything. But at the same time, it's still going to have access. It's going to have access to water. So it should be in a certain area to kind of limit it, but the maps are crude. Like I said, the town didn't want this, so I don't know how accurate the maps are to let people know where it was. But yeah, so we're gonna try to give a name to a girl that's been lost in the woods for almost 300 years. So a little different. Usually I'm out metal detecting for treasures and coins and stuff like this, but now I'm trying to find the junk, the square nails, and hopefully some type of, if we find the structure, that we have enough. There was a note on a map or something that said if you find the structure, and then across the trail is the headstone for the girl. And there could actually be a couple other kids that died out there that just weren't on the record. They didn't have good record keeping out there. They only had the name of the head of the household. A lot of the time the kids weren't put on it. But so enough talking. I got a long walk into the woods. I just wanted to stop and check this one out. But let's get to the spot. This is the trail that should lead me to where I need to be. It's a little rough. You're not getting a car down here, but basic four-wheel drive should be able to do it. See the old stone work, the foundations, I should say the property markers. They loved their stone walls back then. Amazing what they did. Alright, I gotta put in 4 low. It's getting a little rough. Alright, I think I'm at the location. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm using an old map, but I believe this entranceway goes to the foundation that I'm looking for. I'm also going to try something different. I get the prospecting sled that you can easily drag to the river. Usually when I'm metal detecting, I can't carry enough supplies in a backpack. So I'm going to attempt this. If it doesn't work, I'll bring it back. But it's pretty open in these woods, especially with the leaves coming off the trees and stuff. So I should be able to get it pretty far where I need it, and I could just leave it and then get the supplies as I desire. Well, another thing I forgot to mention too is over the decades they've been logging, which really messes us up. Any old trails is going to be hard to distinguish between that and a skidder. But yeah. Oh, and it's I might have been a little ambitious getting out here at sunrise. I mean, it's very beautiful as the sun's coming through, but it's also 36 degrees and chilly. And I am hearing gunshots off in the distance, hence the orange hat. I don't think deer season's open. It's only bear, and it should be bow, so that could be target practicing. But you always have the illegal people out shooting. So hopefully I make enough noise so I don't get shot. I mean, between the detector and dragging the sled, I should be loud enough. But I'm gonna just spend a few minutes, finish my coffee, warm up a bit, and then I'm gonna go, and I'll turn you on if I find something. I'll scan. One thing I like to do is I like to scan the roads that they used all the time. And my philosophy is, if they're working on their property on foot and drop something, they're gonna see and grab it. If they're coming into their property on a horse or carriage bouncing around, they're not gonna notice that they dropped something. And I found a lot of good stuff on their either their driveways or just the old roads. This road is 1840. It was when it was created. So yeah, let me get going. I'll turn you on if I find any targets on the way on the road, but otherwise I am in search of that cellar hole that should be like 200-300 feet out that way. And then do some searching and then head north, which will be that way, to the... I forgot to mention that the structure they called the house, that little med thing, is called the pest house. I don't know why that got that name. I'll have to look into that. But I guess there was some young doctors in the area too that would go out there to treat the patients. So, like I mentioned, it should be far off the property, but it still had to have somewhat easy access to get to, whether by horse or foot or whatever. Especially bringing a sick patient in. You can't be dragging them over mountains or rough terrain. So hopefully today hope we find something interesting. It'll be I mean, it's gonna be a great day in the woods either way. And I will be doing some basic metal detecting, which is always fun. But again, I am looking for an old burnt structure. Hopefully just a pile of nails. So I'll turn you back on when something cool happens. Alright, I made it up to the cellar hole I was looking for. I'll show you a picture on the LiDAR map that is why I came up here. But what the map didn't show me is that this is probably the tallest hill in the area. That was brutal getting up here. It's about a half-a-mile hike. Luckily it's a wide open trail, but dragging that in the gear is pretty exhausting. But I'll show you the layout. It's actually pretty cool. There must have been a nice setup here about 200-300 years ago. Got a little pin over here. I think that's for livestock. I actually had the larger coil on the detector, but there's just so many targets, it's getting hard to pinpoint them, so I just put the little guy on and I'll start checking. But here's the cellar hole, or what's left of it. I am seeing a lot of brick, So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure when they started using the red brick up here. Maybe 200-300 years ago. I don't think before that. I could be wrong. But here's what's left of the cellar foundation. Either it wasn't built right or it was just a poor layout. Usually they're more defined than this. But he did some amazing stonework all around the area. I'll tell you the one thing, whenever you see a cellar hole, just keep a mind out. There's usually a well. A lot of times they cover them so people don't fall in them, but always got to be vigilant. You don't want to step and fall into a 40-foot hole. And it's hard to believe this was all clear cut. I'm in the state of New Hampshire. They say about 75% of the land was clear cut. It's just unbelievable how much it's grown back. I mean, now we have national forests, and I mean, you would never even imagine that. My original plan was to detect the foundation and then work north that way, but I am not getting through that. That is super thick. So I'm gonna have to spend a little time here detecting, maybe find some old history or something cool, and then I'm gonna have to go walk back down to the truck and drive further up north to where I can get at that pest house easier. But this is quite the spread, though. You can tell the people that either had a little more pride in the work they did or had money to hire people to do a lot of this work. Because, I mean, look at these rocks they're moving. This looks like another pin. And I don't know what this is. Maybe this was a tool shed? I'll have to definitely get the detective over here. I don't know if that's showing up, but it's just a small outline. This is definitely not a house foundation. It looks like could have been a little mini barn. It's hard to tell. Yeah, a lot of stonework through here. Pretty crazy. But I'm gonna spend, like I said, a few more hours here. I'm just detecting, seeing if I find anything interesting. This wasn't the mission today, but since I'm out here and winter's coming close, I figured I'd take advantage of the whole day and hit some areas I've been wanting to hit for a while. And then I'll work over and hopefully find that pest house and some type of grave marker or something. That is the mission of the day. I'm also waiting for some people to come out and meet up with me so we can search the property quicker. But yeah, pretty cool. I am miles from anyone. Super peaceful. Still get some nice colors going on. Great day to be in the woods. And it's warming up quick, so I will get back to it. Taking a little break. Not having too much luck. I had to get away from the house. I think it's over there. They must have had like a cedar shingle roof or whatever, because millions of little baby like square-headed tack nails. And when they get in the dirt for a while, they start to show good targets. So that was a pain trying to separate through them. So I am just searching the property. Really, I don't know if this is showing, but I mean, it's just the stonework in here is crazy. I'm assuming that's each side was a pin, and then they'd bring maybe their cart full of feed or whatever. I don't know. There's so much stonework in here. It's kind of hard trying to figure out what's what. I was getting some bigger square nails in that little tool shed or mini barn, so that was definitely some structure at one point. I did find this. It was on the ground by the house, so it's a piece of glazed pottery. I don't know what that's supposed to say, but it looks like a crock pot, or maybe it's a really thick plate. It must have been a pot, but pretty cool. I can't remember on the map, but I want to say this dates to the 1700s, 1740. There could have been a few houses, but just to show the age of it. But like I said, I'm just taking a quick break. I've searched a lot of the property, getting just a ton of nails. Trying to avoid those and go for the good targets. But we'll see. I'll turn you back on if I find something good, or I might be heading back down to do to search for the pest house, which is the whole mission of the day. I get people, they just message me, they're on their way, so we shall see. But either way, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. All right, let me get back to it. Okay, I'm actually at the next spot. I got some reinforcements. I got Katie down there with her dogs. She's gonna help me find this place. She actually gave me a ride down from the mountain. Was way over there, so that was nice. But according to the maps, it should follow along this swamp for about 100 yards in there, and then that should be the location of the pest house. And if we can find that, then the grave of that girl should be about, I think, 100 paces from it. So yeah, wish us luck. But I'm just showing you some of the scenery. As I mentioned before, they went through here with logging, and it just really messes it up. I don't know if this is an old road that they used back then, or this is from the logging. So it kind of stinks, but we'll do the best we can. But all right, we're kind of believing that we're in the right spot. We came in that way, and there's actually a rock that has 3 scribe marks on it. I'll see if I can show you that on the way out. But usually back then that was a sign for medical, stay out. So that's a good promising thing. And this is the highest point of the area, and the swamp is down here. Usually you want to, if you're going to build something where you're going to need you know, water to sterilize stuff. Obviously they're going to have a wood stove or something so they can sterilize it so they can drink and clean stuff. But down right about here, we were finding a bunch of old, they had to be at least 200-300 year old like horseshoe tacks for either an ox or a horse. So that's a good sign. But the problem is, though, I am also finding modern nails, because this was logged over the last, you know, few decades. As you can see, it's all clear cut, so that's making it a little difficult to pinpoint. But what we're looking for is a pile of square nails to show that there was a structure there and it burnt down, and the nails would have been the only thing left. Hopefully maybe too some utensils or something that burned with the building. But we're gonna keep searching. All right, I just spent hours going through the woods. This is probably based on multiple maps from stories we've heard. I think we may have, this is the best location we think it's at. If you look here, it's hard to see, but there's some, yeah, it's not going to show up in the lens. There you go. There's some very unusual scribe marks on here. It doesn't look natural, and it's probably faded over the last few hundred years. And according to the map, there's a bump out in here with the swamp. And I was getting a ton of targets in here. There is some buried barbed wire from, I don't know, I guess like maybe 60, 70 years ago. But away from that, I mean, just random small targets. I mean, if they're nail heads, they're going to be really worn down. It's going to be really hard to see, or what's left of it. But the map would show it. Actually, it'd be over in here. And there is a little flat spot, and it's close to the water where they could get easy access to fill pails and stuff. And we're still looking for it right now. But supposedly, when you find the house 100 paces or so from that location across the road, which there's 2 roads right here, it's hard to tell because, like I keep mentioning, it's been logged out, which is messed up, is messing us up. But down here, I'll show you. This is a weird rock that could be a headstone. It's either over here, or I'm going to show you in a second. I found a really big rock up there at the break of at the corner of a stone wall. I don't know if that was representative of a headstone, but I'll show you this one. And you got to remember, this is almost 300 years ago, or 250. So these trees wouldn't have been here. This would have been field. But check this one out. Just randomly all by itself. The loggers could have put it here. But if I had to guess, that's definitely somebody put that there. That's not natural. We do have some rocks over there, but it doesn't even match. It looks different. So is this the grave site? And again, this tree wouldn't have been here. This tree probably lifted this up. You can almost see an indentation right here. It's hard detective work trying to figure this out. And the maps were so crude, it's very hard to pinpoint stuff. But yeah, that could be something. I'm not sure. But like I said, over there, it should have been the house. I was getting a lot of hits, finding some old metal. Actually, I'll pause it and I'll bring you a walk in there. Or actually, I'll go up first. I'll show you that corner rock, which is just really unusual, and then I'll bring you down there and we'll wrap this up. Because I don't know what else we can do to really pinpoint this. We were hoping to find a ton of square nails, but yeah, depending on the soil, especially near the swamps, it's probably really acidic, so the metal is not going to hold up real well. But let me pause it for a second and I'll show you the rock I was talking about. Does this mean stay out? It's a warning sign. It must be a property mark the loggers use. Very interesting. And if I remember right, that rock is over here. Yeah, what do you think? There it is. I'll show you the other one in a second. The other spot. All right, I'm down by the rock again. It's an interesting find. I didn't realize Katie found this. I don't know, it's some type of tool, or it almost looks like a handle to maybe a frying pan or something that broke. Could have been hung up. But she did find it over in that clearing over there with the rocks. But if you see the rock to your right down here, see if I can retrace the steps. This is where I was getting a ton of iron targets. Yeah, I think it was over here. And this is roughly where it shows it should be on the map. And there could have been some splatter spots around here. We found this on the surface. I don't know what that is. They're getting signals there, a bunch in there, a bunch here. This place, there is a wire. I don't remember where it is. You can see the markings, and there was a barbed wire that ran down along that edge. But over here was just random. I got a bunch of hits in there, but they're so faint, they're hard to pinpoint. I almost need to bring out a screen so I can just sift through the dirt to find those little small nails, if that's what it is. But you got access to the water. Can easily bring it up. And I mean, there's enough area in here. It's not flat enough, but who knows? It's probably would have been good enough. And this almost looks man-made. I don't know if that's going to show. There's a trough embedded in, and it goes right up to this spot. And the camera's not really showing it. But yeah, it's like a drainage. Comes right down through here. Could be an old water channel. And it goes right into the water. Could be a footpath that was used a lot. Or if you build a structure, I mean, do you have to dig like a trough to get all the bad water and stuff draining away? But I don't know. It's either, to me, it's either here is where the pest house should be, or over there is where we were finding some square nails that looked like they were horseshoe tacks. And that's also where she found this. So we're actually going to detect over there. I'm going to do a little more in here, see if anything really pops, or if I can find a big enough square nail. but I want to say this is the spot. I can't confirm it. It's really hard. I mean, trying to find 300-year-old square nails is just brutal. Usually you don't want to find that stuff, and you get upset when you do. But in this instance, I need to find them. So I don't know. We're gonna be detecting a little more, but I think that's it. We're gonna have to come back out here at another point. I'll turn you back on if something else comes up, but I think we found it in either the headstone down there, which is 100 feet from that rock, or the big massive one up there where Katie was. That's 100 feet from the rock. So either way, that could have been where they buried the little girl. Ideally, we need to find exactly where the pest house is, and then I believe it was 100 paces from there is the headstone. But either way, 100 up there or 100 there, I'm hitting 2 headstones, or possible headstones. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting to do this, but it's also very frustrating. But like I said, I mean, I think it's there with all the little targets I'm hitting. It's close to the rock, the warning rock, and you have full access to the water. But I don't know how this water was 300 years ago. It probably still was a swamp, but it could have been further out. But either way, you can get access. If you dug a little hole, it would definitely fill in, and you could be able to fill a pail and get your water, daily water. But again, if I find something really cool, I'll turn you back on, but I think that's it. I think it's going to wrap up. It's getting late. We still got to walk out of here. We're going to detect for about another hour, and then that's it. But hopefully, there's other people searching too, so if I can maybe do a part 2 to this, or next video I'll add some commentary about this part if you're interested and want to learn more. But kind of a sad story. I mean, just to bury a kid out in the woods and just completely forgotten. So we're trying to find the gravesite and the house so they can put a historical marker. So at least she's remembered to a degree. Hopefully at some point we can find the name. All we know is her last name was Bean. But like I said, I think that's going to do it. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.